welcome to ESV's Panorama, your gateway to the latest trends and insights in Lagos and Nigeria's real estate space. Brought to you by the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers. Join us as we explore innovative solutions, market trends, and expert opinions shaping the future of real estate. Stay informed, stay ahead. This is ESV's Panorama.
Hello viewers, welcome to ESV Panorama, where we explore the latest trend in the real estate landscape. Joining me today is ESV Olalekan Aboderin. He's an estate surveyor and valuer, a seasoned valuer, and is also a project manager. And today we'll be discussing effective project management strategy in real estate. Welcome, ESV Olalekan Aboderin.
Thanks so much. Hello viewers, it's my pleasure to be here.
Okay, let's dive into our conversation today. Our viewers would like to have an understanding of what project management is and what is project management and how is project management relevant to estate surveyors and valuers.
That's interesting. Viewers, my pleasure once again. Project management actually has to do with processes of applying skills, techniques, and tools into the delivery of projects towards actualization of project goal. As an area of practice is actually a generic practice, but coming to estate surveying and valuation, where we deal with built environments, then we talk about application of skills, tools, and techniques for the delivery of physical developments. Okay. In this case, we could say real estate developments. Real estate development in scope covers development of residential properties, development of commercial properties, even development, road construction comes under real estate developments. You want to build stadium, it comes under under real estate. So anything that has to do with advancing the potential of land and that will require the use of land come under physical development, which is real estate projects. So from the perspective of estate surveying and valuation, project management has to do with the process of ensuring effective delivery of all these projects in line with the actualization of the project objective. And if we were to look at the relevance of project management to estate surveying and valuation, I mean, that is to say the obvious, because here we are talking about dealing with the built environments. Of course, it's a process of creating the built environment. It's through project management that we deliver all whatever the development terrain that we have. And that shows the importance of project management to the provision of estate surveying and valuation and to our clients out there, right? It's essential for project to be managed, actually. Otherwise, I can tell you for free and tell our viewers for free without proper management of your project. Even if it's a single domestic house, such a client would have suffered one loss or the other, except that there's no standards for such a person to examine, what loss he has suffered. So project management is very, very essential.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for that beautiful insights on what project management is and how it's relevant to the profession and the practice of estate surveying and valuation. And that takes us a bit further. When you look at the built environment, majority of, let's take residential development, for instance, people get into projects, people get into development without proper planning and without carrying out visibility appraiser to find out if this project is visible or not. So can you journey us through the importance of carrying out a visibility study before embarking on a project? And can you also journey us through how this can help the entire ecosystem of built environments?
Okay, that's all right. Thank you. Let me say that successful delivery of a project start from proper planning.
Yeah.
If there is no proper planning, the project is bound to suffer one loss or the other, or one failure or the other. Unfortunately, what the layman will see as project failure is when there is a complete abandoned project. No. The moment you complete your project and there is void, it's a project failure. That is, this project has been completed, it's supposed to be sold, it's not sold. It's supposed to be let. You are looking for tenants for years. It's already a failed project. And one will wonder why such will happen. In this country where we say there is what? There is housing deficits. Where we say we need a lot of housing to meet our need. Then why do we have to build and they are not sold? That is an indication of poor planning. And this proper planning starts from wrong conceptualization. Let me mention here that project from the perspective of built environment is not limited or really has to do with construction. Construction is just an aspect of having to deliver a project, because the proper definition or words for project delivery is development. It's not construction. Construction is just that you are producing, you have to bring to reality what has been conceived in terms of an idea. So, in terms of delivering a project, you are talking about having to go through developments. And for you to have development, the idea must be conceived. The project must be properly initiated. And as you have said, talking about feasibility and viability studies, you cannot have a proper initiation of a project without what we call business case in the language of project management. There must be a business case. And key contributions in business case is the appraiser, which covers the feasibility, the viability, risk analysis, and what have you of the project. Without that, it's like a blind dealing. You just enter into that because others are doing it, you want to do it. That's heuristic approach. You are bound to suffer one loss or the other when you adopt heuristic approach. But when there is proper analysis, proper planning, there will be proper initiation. You can see through the project right from planning, right from the beginning. You can see through the projects. And that will equally let us identify what are likely risk areas, and you provide measures against all these risk areas. Right? The profession of project management identifies that there will be project risk. You have the unknown and unknown. So when you have that, you plan towards those things so that it will not derail the project from achieving its goal. So now, feasibility and viability study is very, very important. This is not an area to talk extensively about, but let me quickly mention that. When you talk about feasibility, what you are trying to examine, what we consider in feasibility study is to know whether the project can actually be achieved or not. Whether it can be achieved or not. A lot of what will hinder the project would have been seen and analyzed right from the beginning if there's proper project feasibility. A lot of threats to the project, even threats of so-called third-party claim would have been identified. Right? You get stuck because of approval. You would have identified that. There is problem of cost overrun because of the type of foundation you encounter. You would have identified all those things under project feasibility. Or that you now get to the market, you realize that there is no even any demand gap to meet. You would have identified that. So for feasibility studies, you have what we call market feasibility and non-market feasibility. Right? And for us to do that, you undergo 3 stages or 3 processes. One is that there will be need for you to do investigation. 2 is that you do market survey and study. And the 3rd one is you now come to analysis. Right? Your market survey is about the market and all the market dynamics in relation to the project. In that wise, you are seeing through your project, you are seeing through the eyes of the market, seeing through your project, so that you know whether there is need or space for your project or not in the market. If there is no demand to meet, why are you embarking on some projects? Right? So if there is demand, do a project concept that will match and meet the need of that demand. You will sell. Right? So that is under market survey. You gather a lot of project information, market information under market survey. Value, your capital value is there, your rental value is there, you equally need to consider what's the level of demand, what's the nature of demand. You even consider supply. What are competition? What's the level of competition? What are they doing? How do you do your own differently? These are things you do under market feasibility. Then, if you go to non-market feasibility, oh, fantastic. That's where you now look at what's the size, your site, what is it saying about your project? Just today, I analyzed, you have a site of 300 square meters, for example. In some cases, the same size, one site will be able to fulfill approval condition. The other side might not be able to fulfill approval condition just because of shape. All this you analyze under feasibility, and you'll be able to see through and say, sorry, this project is not feasible. And my colleague, the moment you are able to even say it's not feasible, you have added value to that project because you are saving your client from a colossal loss. Yes. And of course, that means we are entitled to our fee, right? Yes. Aha, good. So, other than that, then you conclude on feasibility by going to analysis. Yeah. But the findings will be findings about the title. Somebody has a title that has 25 years unexpired, and he wants to go and do mass housing, and he believes that people will buy. That is a failed project because the market cannot tolerate such. So the analysis would have shown that right from the beginning. You do your search on the title, you do your search on the tenor, you do your search on the type of interest, right? These are things that we can see that laymen cannot see, no matter how big, right? They cannot see. Type of interest, because we have different types of interest in land. People will say we have freehold and leasehold. It's more than that. What of a case where you have co-ownership? What of a case where you have strata titling? All these have implications on decisions to build or not to build, or to use land or not to use land. And when an investor is coming in, it's important to consider the implications of all those things on the actualization of the projects. So you consider that, you equally consider the ownership structure. Then you go to zoning. What is the land use zoning? What is the approval order in that area? What is the planning standard? A lot of people want to build and they want to, without complying with planning standard, or you want to build, you are not complying with zoning. You get to physical planning, they say, sorry, no approval. Is that a project that is achievable? It's not achievable. But where there is proper analysis regarding feasibility analysis will have shown all those ones. Then you now think of, are there measures to make this thing feasible? If there are practical measures, you try to deploy those measures into your analysis. You will equally consider the cost implications of all those ones before you now say, okay, fine, this project is feasible or not. But that feasibility is one leg in terms of appraisal. When a project becomes feasible, then you go to the second leg, and that is viability studies.
Wow. Thank you so much for the delivery. Thank you so much. Personally, I've learned a lot while ESV Aboderin was talking. For me personally, I've always thought that visibility and viability of a project is limited to the kind of development that should be considered. And in terms of profitability, does the cost of development, does it match up to the return, whether you are flipping it on rental or capital sale, right? But based on what ESV Aboderin has expatiated on today, it shows that project management, there's so much to it. And thank you for that experience you've shared with us. So I just want to ask you, our viewers out there, some of them are probably on one project or the other, and probably they've managed some projects for their clients in time past, or we see prospecting to manage more projects. What are the common pitfalls that you've identified that estate surveyors and valuers encounter while trying to offer advisory services in the line of project management? What are the common pitfalls, and how can those pitfalls be avoided?
Okay, thank you. Common pitfalls, challenges in the course of rendering project management services. Well, the first one that is very, very common is what we call scope creep. Scope creep. Very, very common, and it's important for project manager to have measures against scope creep. because of a lot of implications that it has. Now, what is the measure against scope creep will be that there should be proper establishment of scope baseline. And there should be a process for changes. We call it integrated change process. There should be a framework to tolerate or analyze whether there will be a need for any change or not. Even if the promoter or the sponsor requires a change, there should be a framework or a process through which that change will be considered, the implications on cost and time will be analyzed, and the impact of it on the goal or objective of the project will be analyzed before concluding whether that change should be accepted or not. So when it is accepted, it becomes part of the scope. So it will now form part of what we call scope baseline. When it is not accepted, then it will go to record. Okay. Now, in the change log. Now that is one. Another challenge, particularly in Nigeria today now, is fluctuation. Because of the situation we find ourselves. It's a very challenging situation now because of the instability in the economy. So, project manager really needs to be fast in different strategies for managing costs. Different strategies for managing costs, right? Then another one is what we call troublesome sponsor. When you have difficult sponsor, it can be a very tight thing, very difficult thing to achieve delivery of a project. And what do we mean by difficult sponsor? Sponsor that does not conform or align with the reality of projects. A sponsor that probably, for example, it just gives you money now, it just disburses funds now. A project, an assignment that's supposed to take 1 week, it wants it done within 2 days. Or a sponsor that does not have the fund available and is pushing the project that why complaining why the project is not going on. So this type of sponsor, there are strategies of dealing with them. And most importantly is about communications and documentations. Communications and documentations. And where need be, reporting, promptly reporting, so that before it comes to push you against what is not realistic, you have already reported ahead. Exactly. So with that, the facts will be unstable. You won't be able to say, or lay any complaint, why is the project not going on? Knowing fully well that the circumstance of the project actually does not allow the project to go on. Then another one is the aspect of difficult stakeholders. I need to say this, most project managers often neglect the influence of stakeholders. And for proper delivery of projects, it is important to identify who constitutes stakeholders for the project and identify them, both internal and external. For example, one of external stakeholder could be government, because government exercises regulatory authority over everything we do, right? So if the requirement of government is not met in delivering a project, it can stall that project. Like you don't have proper approval or you have not even obtained your approval. Then you need to be doing state certification. You don't comply with your state certification. Government officers will just come and seal your site. And the moment they seal your site, oh, well, that's a problem. Yeah, those are basically some of the key pitfalls or challenges that project managers face.
Thank you so much, ESV Olalekan Aboderin, for the invaluable insights you've shared with us today.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you for sharing your expertise on project management. To our listeners and our viewers out there, we hope that this conversation has provided insights and it will help you to manage your projects more effectively some other time. Thank you very much, and we do like to have you some other time on ESV Panorama. Thank you and stay blessed. Bye.